The holographic display flickered to life in the command center of New Busan Colony, casting blue light across General Hana Kim's stern face. She stood with her arms crossed, watching as the image of Emperor Thulrak materialized before her. The Vrexian ruler was massive, nearly 8 feet tall, with deep purple skin covered in ceremonial armor that gleamed like polished obsidian. His 4 eyes burned with contempt as he looked down at the human general. "General Kim," the Emperor's voice boomed through the speakers, each word dripping with disdain. "I have given your pathetic species 3 standard days to consider my generous offer. Now I demand your answer." Hana remained silent, her dark eyes never leaving the Emperor's face. Behind her, Commander Minho Park shifted nervously, his hand hovering over his datapad. He had advised her to at least pretend to negotiate, to buy humanity more time. But Hana had other plans. The Emperor continued, his massive jaw working as he spoke. "You will surrender the colonies of New Busan, Terra Nova, and Crimson Harbor to the Vrexian Empire. You will also pay an annual tribute of 10,000 tons of refined titanium and quantum crystals. In return, I will allow your species to continue existing as vassals under my protection." "Protection from what?" Hana asked quietly, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. The Emperor's eyes widened slightly, as if surprised that she had spoken at all. Then he laughed, a deep rumbling sound that made the speakers crackle. "From me, of course. From the full might of an empire that spans 300 star systems. From a military force that has conquered every species foolish enough to challenge us." Hana took a step closer to the hologram. "And if we refuse?" The laughter stopped. The command center fell silent except for the soft hum of computers. Every human officer present held their breath. They all knew what happened to species that defied the Vrexian Empire. Complete annihilation, no mercy, no survivors. Then I will demonstrate why the Vrexian Empire has never been defeated in 12,000 years of expansion," Thulrak said slowly. "I will turn your colonies into debris fields. I will hunt your species across the stars until not a single human remains alive. Your civilization will become a cautionary tale that other primitive species whisper to their children." He leaned closer to his own recording device, his image growing larger in the hologram. "But first I will make an example of you, General Hana Kim. You who dare to command forces against your betters. You who play at being a warrior when you are nothing but a soft-skinned primitive with delusions of importance." Minho touched Hana's shoulder gently, a silent plea for caution. She brushed his hand away. "I have consulted with the Galactic Council," the Emperor continued. "They agree that humanity has grown too bold, too quickly. You have been in space for less than 2 centuries, yet you act as if you deserve a seat among the ancient powers. This ends now. You will submit or you will be erased." Hana smiled, though there was no warmth in it. "I have an answer for you, Emperor." "Finally, you show wisdom," Thulrak said, settling back in his throne. "Speak your surrender clearly so that all the galaxy can witness humanity's submission." "Come and take them," Hana said. The command center erupted in gasps and whispered curses. Minho closed his eyes and muttered something under his breath. Colonel Jiwon Choi, who had been standing near the tactical display, actually laughed out loud, though it sounded more like despair than amusement. The Emperor stared at Hana for a long moment, as if unable to process what he had just heard. "What did you say?" "You heard me perfectly well," Hana replied, her voice steady and calm. "If you want our colonies, come and take them. If you want us to bow, come and make us. But know this, Emperor Thulrak, humanity doesn't kneel to bullies no matter how big they are or how many systems they control." The Emperor's face twisted with rage. His 4 eyes blazed with fury and his hands gripped the arms of his throne so hard that the metal groaned. "You insignificant insect. You have just sentenced your entire species to death." "Maybe," Hana said. "But we'll die standing up." She reached forward and terminated the transmission. The hologram vanished, leaving the command center in darkness for a moment before the regular lights flickered back on. Nobody spoke. They all stared at their general, some with admiration, others with horror. Finally, Jiwon broke the silence. "Well, that could have gone better, could it?" Hana asked, turning to face her officers. The Emperor was never going to accept anything less than total submission. "At least now we know where we stand." "We stand on the edge of extinction," Minho said quietly. "The Vrexian Empire has 6,000 warships. We have 300. They have weapons that can crack planets. We have kinetic cannons and missile systems that are considered primitive by galactic standards. And yet we're still here. Hana said. She walked to the large window that overlooked New Busan's capital city. Millions of humans lived below, going about their daily lives, unaware that their general had just declared war on the most powerful empire in the galaxy. You know what the difference is between us and every other species the Vrexians have conquered? What? Jiwan asked. They expected to win, Hana said. Every species the Emperor crushed thought they could negotiate, or that their technology would save them, or that the Galactic Council would intervene. They had hope, and that hope made them weak, made them hesitate, made them slow to act. She turned back to her officers. We have no illusions. We know we're outmatched. We know this is probably suicide. And that clarity, that absolute understanding of our situation is going to be our advantage. We have nothing to lose and everything to prove. Minho pulled up a data stream on his pad. General, I'm receiving reports that the transmission was broadcast across the entire galactic network. Every species with communication technology just watched you challenge the Emperor. Good, Hana said. There's more, Minho continued. The betting markets are already active. The odds of human survival are 3,000 to 1 against. Most species are taking bets on how long we'll last, not whether we'll survive. Even better, Hana said. She pulled up a tactical display of the New Busan system. How long before the Emperor responds? Jiwan studied her own datapad. Intelligence suggests he'll send a military force within a week. Standard Vrexian doctrine would be a battle fleet of at least 50 capital ships, maybe more given how angry you just made him. No, Hana said softly. He won't do that. Not at first, why not? Minho asked. Because I insulted him personally, Hana explained. I didn't just refuse his demands. I challenged his authority in front of the entire galaxy. He'll want to make an example of me specifically before he destroys our colonies. He'll send assassins first. The best killers his empire has to offer. Minho's face went pale. The Crimson Hand, Hana nodded. The Crimson Hand. Everyone in the command center knew about the Crimson Hand. The Emperor's personal assassination squad, 12 of the deadliest killers in the galaxy, trained since birth to infiltrate, hunt, and eliminate high-value targets. They had never failed a mission in 300 years. Kings, generals, rebel leaders all had fallen to the Crimson Hand's blades. General, you need to increase your security immediately, Jiwan said urgently. Go into protective custody. Let us lock down the colony and screen every person who... No, Hana said simply. No? Jiwan repeated, incredulous. If I hide, they'll just kill civilians until I come out, Hana said. And if I surround myself with guards, they'll find a way through anyway. These are the best assassins in the galaxy. Conventional security won't stop them. Then what will? Minho asked. Hana smiled again, and this time there was something dangerous in her expression. Me. The transport ship landed at New Busan's civilian port 3 days after General Hana's transmission to the Emperor. It registered as a merchant vessel from the Talaxian Trade Confederation, carrying refugees displaced by a recent border conflict. Immigration officers processed the passengers without incident. Among them were 12 individuals who blended perfectly into the crowd of tired, desperate travelers seeking sanctuary on a human colony. These 12 were the Crimson Hand. Their leader, Korvash, moved through the customs checkpoint with practiced ease. His adaptive camouflage made him appear as a standard Talaxian trader, complete with the proper documentation and biometric signatures. The human officer scanning his credentials never noticed the micro-thin molecular blade hidden in his forearm, or the neural disruptor embedded in his chest cavity, or the fact that his heartbeat was completely artificial. Welcome to New Busan, the officer said, stamping his clearance. Enjoy your stay. I intend to, Korvash replied, his voice modulator perfectly mimicking Talaxian speech patterns. He walked into the colony proper and activated his secure communication channel. 11 confirmations blinked in his field of vision. All of his team had made it through customs successfully. The hunt could begin. While the assassins dispersed into the city, Commander Minho Park sat in his office reviewing arrival records for the past week. Something bothered him, though he couldn't quite identify what. He ran facial recognition software, checked travel histories, verified documentation against central databases. Everything appeared legitimate. You look like you haven't slept, a voice said from his doorway. Minho looked up to see Major Soman Lee leaning against the frame. The special operations officer carried herself with the easy confidence of someone who had survived 100 combat drops. Her left arm was cybernetic, replaced after a plasma grenade had destroyed the original during the Frontier Wars. "I can't shake the feeling that they're already here," Minho said. "The assassins?" Soman walked into the office and pulled up a chair. "If they're here, they're invisible. We've swept the colony 3 times. Enhanced scanners, thermal imaging, quantum detection, nothing." "That's what worries me," Minho said. "The Crimson Hand doesn't show up on scanners. They use technology we barely understand." Soman nodded slowly. "So what do we do?" "We wait," Minho said. "And we watch the general." General Hana Kim walked through the central market of New Busan without any visible security escort. Vendors called out their wares. Children ran between stalls, and the smell of cooking food filled the air. To any observer, she appeared completely unguarded and vulnerable. Korvash watched her from a rooftop 300 meters away. His optical enhancers tracked every movement she made. He studied her body language, her reaction times, the way she scanned her surroundings. She was good, better than he expected from a human. But she was still just a soft-skinned primitive playing soldier. "I have a clear shot," one of his team members whispered through the communication channel. "Permission to eliminate target?" "Denied," Korvash replied. "This is not a simple assassination. The Emperor wants her to know she's being hunted. He wants her to feel fear before she dies. We take her in her own quarters where she believes she's safe." "Understood," the assassin replied. Hana stopped at a fruit vendor and purchased several pieces of exotic produce. She smiled at the seller, made small talk, and continued walking. Korvash's eyes narrowed. Something felt wrong. No military commander would be this casual, this exposed, unless they were either incredibly stupid or incredibly confident. He didn't think Hana Kim was stupid. That evening, the governor of New Busan hosted a diplomatic reception at his mansion. Hana attended, wearing her formal military uniform rather than combat gear. She spoke with ambassadors, shared drinks with colonial administrators, and laughed at jokes that weren't particularly funny. To everyone present, she appeared relaxed and unconcerned about the threat hanging over her head. "General, you should really reconsider your security arrangements," the governor said quietly, pulling her aside. "The entire galaxy knows the Emperor wants you dead." "I appreciate your concern," Hana replied, sipping her wine. "But I'm exactly where I need to be." The governor frowned but didn't press the issue. He had learned that arguing with General Hana Kim was an exercise in futility. 3 floors above the reception hall, 3 members of the Crimson Hand moved through the darkness of the governor's mansion like shadows. Their cloaking fields bent light around them, making them effectively invisible. They had disabled the security systems 30 minutes earlier, replacing camera feeds with looped recordings. Every guard in the building thought everything was normal. The assassins reached Hana's assigned quarters without incident. They moved into position, weapons ready. One would strike first with a neural disruptor to paralyze her. The second would finish the job with a molecular blade. The third would provide overwatch in case of interference. They breached the door silently. The room was empty. Korvash, monitoring from a nearby building, felt ice in his artificial veins. "Report," he commanded. "Target not present," the lead assassin whispered. Room appears unused. A holographic projector in the center of the room suddenly activated. General Hana's image appeared, life-sized and smiling. "You should have brought more," the hologram said. The room exploded. Hidden weapons platforms emerged from the walls, ceiling, and floor. Plasma cannons, kinetic accelerators, and electromagnetic pulse generators fired simultaneously. The first assassin disintegrated instantly, his cloaking field overloaded by the EMP burst. The second managed to activate emergency shields, but a plasma bolt punched through and vaporized his head. The third assassin dove toward the window, but automated turrets tracked his movement and opened fire. He made it to the window before a railgun shot tore through his torso. He crashed through the glass and fell 3 stories to the courtyard below, still alive but badly wounded. "We have a runner," Soman's voice came through the tactical channel, "moving to intercept." She led a team of 6 special operations soldiers, all equipped with experimental anti-cloaking scanners developed specifically for this mission. They found the wounded assassin trying to crawl away, leaving a trail of purple blood across the stone courtyard. "Don't move," Soman ordered, her weapon aimed at his head. The assassin hissed something in a language she didn't understand and reached for a suicide device embedded in his chest. Soman fired, destroying his hand before he could activate it. Two of her soldiers pinned him down while a medical team rushed forward with stasis cuffs. 3 down, Soman reported. 1 captured alive. In his observation post, Korvash felt something he hadn't experienced in decades: uncertainty. The human general had predicted their first move and set a trap. 3 of his best operatives were dead, another captured. New orders he transmitted to his remaining team members. We go to ground. No more moves until we understand how she predicted our attack. The captured assassin said nothing during interrogation. He didn't need to. The technology recovered from his body told Minho everything he needed to know about Vrexian assassination protocols. The neural disruptor operated on a specific frequency. The molecular blades had a distinctive energy signature. The cloaking fields created microscopic distortions that could be detected with the right equipment. She knew, Minho said. Studying the data, she knew exactly how they would attack. Not exactly, Hana corrected, entering the interrogation observation room. I knew they'd try for me in a private location where they thought I'd be vulnerable. I knew they'd come at night. I knew they'd use technology designed to bypass conventional security. The rest was just preparation and patience. 3 down, 9 to go, Colonel Jiwon said. But now they know we're ready for them. Good, Hana said. Let them be afraid. She pulled up a map of New Busan on the display screen. Minho, I want thermal anomaly tracking active across the entire colony. Jiwon, have your tactical teams ready for rapid deployment. Soman, your people are going hunting. Hunting what? Soman asked. Hana smiled. The most dangerous predators in the galaxy. And we're going to show them what it means to hunt on a human world. The next day, reports began filtering through the galactic network. 3 members of the Crimson Hand, supposedly invincible assassins, had been killed by human defenses. 1 was captured. The betting markets shifted slightly. The odds improved from 3,000 to 1 against human survival to only 2,000 to 1. Korvash read the reports and felt something new stirring in his chest. Not quite fear, but a deep respect for his opponent. General Hana Kim was not the soft primitive the Emperor believed her to be. She was a warrior, and warriors deserved a warrior's death. He began planning his next move, knowing that this hunt had just become far more dangerous than he had anticipated. The question was no longer how quickly he could kill the general. The question was whether he would survive long enough to try. General Hana Kim stood in the armory deep beneath the colony's military headquarters, examining the equipment her engineers had developed over the past 2 days. The captured assassin's technology had provided invaluable data, and her people had worked without sleep to create countermeasures. These are thermal scatter grenades, Lieutenant Dae-Ho-yoon explained, holding up a small cylindrical device. They flood an area with heat signatures across multiple wavelengths. The assassin's cloaking fields work by bending light, but they still emit trace thermal radiation. This will make them visible for approximately 8 seconds. 8 seconds is enough, Hana said, taking one of the grenades and attaching it to her combat harness. Dae-Ho gestured to another piece of equipment. These are micro-drone swarms. Each drone is the size of a fingernail and equipped with quantum entanglement sensors. They can detect spatial distortions caused by cloaking fields. We can deploy them in any environment. And how many do we have? Hana asked. Enough to cover the entire Undercity, Dae-Ho replied. That's where we think they're hiding. Hana turned to face the assembled special operations team. 15 soldiers stood before her, each one a veteran of at least 3 combat deployments. They wore powered armor painted matte black and carried weapons designed to penetrate Vrexian shields. You all volunteered for this mission, Hana said. You know what we're facing. The Crimson Hand has eliminated targets across hundreds of worlds. They're trained from birth to kill, and they've never failed a mission. She paused, making eye contact with each soldier. But they've never hunted humans before. They don't know how stubborn we are. How adaptable. How absolutely unwilling to give up, even when every rational calculation says we should. Major Salmon Lee stepped forward. What are your orders, General? We go into the Undercity, Hana said. We find them. We kill them. No hesitation, no mercy. They came to our home to murder us. We're going to teach them that humanity doesn't die quietly. The team moved out within the hour. The Undercity of New Busan stretched beneath the main colony like a vast network of veins. Originally built as maintenance tunnels and storage facilities, it had evolved into a sprawling underground community where thousands of people lived and worked. The lighting was dim, the air was recycled, and the shadows were deep enough to hide anything. Hana's team split into 3 groups. She led one herself, with 5 soldiers following her through the maze of corridors. Soman commanded the second group, and Captain Hiejinam led the third. They stayed in constant communication, sharing sensor data and tactical information. Thermal anomaly detected Section 7. Minho's voice crackled through Hana's earpiece. He was coordinating from the command center above. Could be one of them. Moving to intercept, Hana replied. She led her team through a series of tight passages until they reached Section 7, an abandoned storage area filled with rusting machinery and broken equipment. The air was cold and smelled of metal and decay. Deploy drones, Hana ordered quietly. One of her soldiers released a swarm of microdrones. They scattered through the area like invisible insects, their sensors searching for any sign of spatial distortion. Within seconds, the data fed back to Hana's tactical display. Contact, she whispered. Northwest corner behind the old generator housing. The assassin must have realized he was detected because he moved. Hana saw the blur of motion and threw a thermal scatter grenade. The device detonated with a soft pop, flooding the area with heat signatures. For 8 precious seconds, the assassin's cloaking field failed. He was less than 10 meters away, a tall figure in dark armor with weapons mounted on both arms. He raised a neural disruptor and fired. The bolt sizzled through the air where Hana had been standing, but she was already moving. Her combat training took over, enhanced reflexes pushing her body faster than normal human speed. She returned fire with her plasma rifle. The assassin's shields absorbed the first shot, but the second and third punched through. He staggered, wounded but not dead. His cloaking field reactivated, but Hana's team had already triangulated his position. 5 soldiers opened fire simultaneously. The assassin tried to escape, but there was nowhere to go. He fell, his body riddled with plasma burns and kinetic rounds. 1 down, Hana reported. 8 remaining. Over the next 6 hours, the hunt continued through the Undercity's dark corridors. The assassins fought with desperate skill, using every technique they had mastered over decades of training. They set traps, ambushes, and diversions. They killed 2 of Hana's soldiers and wounded 4 more. But the humans adapted faster than the Vrexians expected. Every time an assassin used a tactic, Hana's team developed a counter-tactic. Every piece of technology the assassins deployed was analyzed and defeated. The humans used their knowledge of the Undercity's layout, coordinating attacks from multiple angles and cutting off escape routes. Captain Hieji's team cornered an assassin in an old water treatment facility. The Vrexian tried to use the darkness and machinery for cover, but the microdrones tracked his every movement. Hieji personally killed him with a well-placed shot that punched through his helmet. Soman's group engaged 2 assassins simultaneously in a residential area. The fight was brutal in close quarters. The assassins were faster and stronger individually, but the humans fought as a coordinated unit. They used suppressing fire to pin one assassin while flanking the other. Both Vrexians died within minutes. 5 down total, Minho updated. 7 remaining. But the victory came at a cost. Lieutenant Daeho Yoon's team was ambushed while clearing a commercial sector. An assassin had rigged explosives throughout the area, turning it into a death trap. The blast killed 3 soldiers instantly. Daeho saw a secondary bomb positioned near a civilian shelter where families were hiding. He didn't hesitate. He ran toward the bomb, knowing he couldn't defuse it in time. Instead, he grabbed it and kept running, carrying it away from the shelter. The bomb detonated 20 meters away, killing him instantly but saving 53 civilians. Daeho is gone, Soman reported, her voice tight with grief. He saved a lot of people. Hana closed her eyes briefly, then opened them again. Mark his position. We'll recover his body when this is over. Right now we keep hunting. Another assassin fell when Hana's team tracked him to an industrial foundry. He tried to use the extreme heat of the smelting equipment to mask his thermal signature, but the microdrones detected the spatial distortion his cloaking field created. The team drove him into a corner and eliminated him with concentrated fire. The remaining assassins began to realize they were losing. These humans weren't supposed to be able to fight back effectively. The Crimson Hand had killed generals, admirals, and planetary governors across dozens of species, and none had mounted a defense like this. Soman's team engaged another assassin in the Undercity's power generation sector. The battle raged among massive generators and electrical conduits. The assassin was skilled and dangerous, but he made a critical mistake. He underestimated Sumin's cybernetic enhancements. When he moved in for a close-quarters kill, expecting to overpower a normal human, Somin's artificial arm moved with inhuman speed. She caught his molecular blade with her cybernetic hand, the weapon unable to cut through the advanced alloy. Her other hand drove a combat knife into his throat. 7 down, she reported. 5 left. In his makeshift command post, Korvash watched his team dwindle. Half of the Crimson Hand was dead. The humans had turned from prey into predators, hunting his people through their own territory with ruthless efficiency. He activated his communication channel to the 4 assassins he had left. New strategy. We can't win by hunting them separately. We consolidate our position and force them to come to us. Where? One of his assassins asked. The abandoned shipyard district, Korvash said. Open area, multiple sightlines, structural positions we can defend. If the general wants us, she'll have to dig us out. What Korvash didn't know was that Minho was intercepting his communications. Thorexian encryption was excellent, but the captured assassin's equipment had provided the decryption keys. They're moving to the shipyards, Minho reported to Hana. All 5 remaining assassins. Consolidating position. Hana studied the tactical map. The shipyard district was abandoned, a vast area filled with skeletal structures of unfinished ships and heavy construction equipment. It would be a perfect location for a defensive stand. They're trapped, Colonel Jiwan said, joining Hana in the command center. We can surround the entire area and bring in heavy weapons. No, Hana said. If we do that, they'll just escape in the chaos. These are the best assassins in the galaxy. We need to end this personally. She turned to Somin, who was treating a minor burn on her arm. Get your best people ready. We're going in. But before they could move, Hana received a transmission on an open channel. It was Korvash. General Hana Kim. The assassin's voice was calm and professional. I acknowledge that you and your forces have fought with honor. You have killed 7 of my team, something no target has ever accomplished. Hana activated her microphone. And yet you're still here. Indeed, Korvash replied. I propose a final confrontation. You and I, face to face in the shipyard district. If you defeat me, my remaining team will withdraw and report to the Emperor that the mission failed. You expect me to believe that? Hana asked. No, Korvash said honestly. But I think you'll come anyway. Because you want to end this personally. Because you want to look the leader of the Crimson Hand in the eyes when you kill him. Hana was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. Send me the coordinates. I'll be there in 1 hour. General, this is obviously a trap, Jiwon protested. I know, Hana said. I'm counting on it. The abandoned shipyard stretched across 5 square kilometers of industrial wasteland. Massive skeletal structures rose into the night sky like the bones of mechanical giants. Construction equipment sat frozen in place, abandoned when the colony's economy shifted and made the facility obsolete. Darkness filled every corner, broken only by occasional emergency lights that still functioned after years of neglect. General Hana Kim walked into the shipyard exactly on time. She wore light combat armor rather than powered armor, and carried only a plasma pistol on her hip. To any observer, she appeared alone and vulnerable. Korvash watched her approach from his position atop an unfinished frigate hull. His optical enhancers studied every detail of her movement. She walked with confidence, her head up, scanning the environment but not appearing afraid. His 4 remaining assassins were positioned throughout the shipyard, hidden and ready to strike. She actually came, one of the assassins whispered through the secure channel. The human is either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. Both, perhaps, Korvash replied. Wait for my signal. He dropped from the hull, landing 20 meters in front of Hana. His cloaking field deactivated, revealing him fully. He stood nearly 7 feet tall, his armor covered in the markings of his rank and achievements. 2 molecular blades extended from his forearms, gleaming in the dim light. General Kim, he said, his voice carrying across the empty space. I am Korvash, leader of the Crimson Hand. I have eliminated 73 targets across the galaxy. Kings, generals, and warlords have all fallen to my blades. You will be the 74th. Hana stopped 10 meters away from him. I've heard about you. The Emperor's personal killer. The shadow that no one escapes. You honor me, Korvash said. I must admit I have developed respect for you. You have fought with skill and courage. You have killed 7 of my team, a feat no target has ever achieved. For this, I will grant you a warrior's death, quick, honorable. How generous, Hana said dryly. Before we begin, I'm curious about something. Speak, Korvash said. Why do you work for him? Hana asked. You're clearly intelligent, capable. You could be your own person, but instead you're just the Emperor's attack dog. Korvash tilted his head slightly. I serve because service gives purpose. The Emperor provides direction, order. Without him, I would be just another killer in a galaxy full of violence. With him, I am part of something greater than myself. You're part of a tyranny, Hana said. You help maintain an empire built on fear and oppression. And you are part of a species that will be extinct within the month, Korvash replied. Your philosophical objections mean nothing in the face of reality. Now enough talk. Defend yourself. He moved with blinding speed, covering the distance between them in less than a second. His molecular blades sang through the air, aimed at Hana's throat and chest simultaneously. The attacks were perfect, the timing flawless, the execution refined through decades of practice. Hana wasn't there. She had moved with equal speed, her body enhanced by subtle cybernetic improvements she had kept hidden from galactic intelligence agencies. She twisted aside, drew her plasma pistol, and fired 3 rapid shots. Korvash's shields absorbed the first 2, but the third grazed his shoulder, burning through armor and flesh. He spun, surprised. You're enhanced. I learned a long time ago that fair fights are for people who want to die, Hana replied. They engaged again, moving through the shipyard in a deadly dance. Korvash was faster and stronger, his assassin training giving him a technical advantage in close combat. But Hana had been fighting since she was 16 years old. She had survived wars, revolutions, and a dozen assassination attempts before this one. She knew how to turn an opponent's strength against them. She led him toward a pile of construction debris, firing her pistol to keep him moving in the direction she wanted. When he lunged, she rolled aside and triggered a trap she had prepared earlier. Heavy equipment collapsed on top of him, tons of metal crashing down. Korvash burst from the wreckage, his armor damaged but his blades still intact. Clever, but it won't be enough. It doesn't have to be, Hana said. That's when his 4 assassins revealed themselves, emerging from their hiding positions throughout the shipyard. They surrounded Hana, weapons ready. She stood in the center of a kill zone with no apparent cover. Did you truly believe I would honor a one-on-one challenge? Korvash asked. I am an assassin, not a duelist. I use every advantage, every deception. That is why I never fail. Hana smiled. I was counting on exactly that. She raised her hand and made a simple gesture. The entire shipyard suddenly blazed with targeting lasers. Red dots appeared on every assassin's armor, coming from hundreds of different angles. Buildings, equipment, structural beams, every possible position was occupied by a hidden human soldier. Captain Hyeji Nam's voice echoed through loudspeakers. You are surrounded. You have 5 seconds to surrender. 5, 4, 3. One of the assassins fired at the nearest source of targeting lasers. It was a fatal mistake. 100 human soldiers opened fire simultaneously. The shipyard erupted with plasma bolts, kinetic rounds, and energy weapons. The assassin was hit by dozens of shots at once, his shields overloading instantly, his body torn apart by the concentrated fire. The other 3 assassins activated their cloaking fields and tried to escape. They were fast, trained for exactly this kind of scenario, but Hana's soldiers had been prepared for this moment. Thermal scatter grenades detonated across the shipyard, making the assassins visible. Microdrone swarms tracked their movements. There was nowhere to hide. The second assassin made it 50 meters before a railgun shot from Soman's position took his head off. The third tried to use a civilian building as cover, but Major Soman led a squad that flanked him and killed him with coordinated fire. The fourth assassin activated explosive charges he had planted, trying to create chaos, but the humans had already evacuated the area. Captain Hyeji personally hunted down the fourth assassin, tracking him through the wreckage. When he tried to ambush her, she anticipated the move and shot him 3 times before he could strike. Korvash stood alone in the center of the kill zone, surrounded by the bodies of his team. 100 weapons were trained on him. He had fought in countless battles, eliminated scores of targets, survived missions that should have been impossible, but he had never faced anything like this. Your Emperor sent you to kill me, Hana said, walking toward him. He sent the Crimson Hand, the most feared assassins in the galaxy. And what did you accomplish? You killed 2 of my soldiers, too. Meanwhile, I've eliminated your entire team. She stopped directly in front of him. You said you never fail. But you failed here. You failed because you underestimated humans. You thought we were weak because we're young compared to other galactic species. You thought our technology was primitive. You thought we'd be easy prey. We were wrong, Korvash said quietly. His shields were failing, his armor was damaged, and he was surrounded. He could see no path to victory or escape. You fought with honor, General Kim. Your people are warriors worthy of respect. We're not warriors, Hana corrected him. We're survivors. We're a species that crawled out of caves on a deadly planet, fought our way to the top of the food chain, and then reached for the stars because we refused to be contained. You can't kill that with assassins or threats or overwhelming force. Korvash lowered his blades. If you're going to kill me, do it now. No, Hana said. She pulled out a combat knife and held it out to him. Take this. Die with a weapon in your hand like the warrior you claim to be. Korvash stared at the offered knife. Then he understood. This was not mercy. This was respect. A warrior's death. He took the knife and bowed slightly. Thank you, General. You're welcome, Hana said. She drew her plasma pistol. Korvash moved, not to attack her but to force her to kill him in combat. His honor demanded it. Hana fired once, a clean shot to the center of his chest. He fell, the knife still in his hand. The shipyard fell silent except for the hum of cooling weapons and the soft footsteps of soldiers moving to secure the area. Hana stood over Korvash's body, looking down at the leader of the Crimson Hand. Commander Minho, she said into her communication device. Yes, General, his voice replied. Prepare the medical team. I want the bodies of all 12 assassins preserved using military-grade stasis technology. No decomposition, no damage. I want them exactly as they fell. Understood, Minho said. May I ask why? Because we're sending them home, Hana said. All of them. Every single head. I want them mounted in a container made from Terran steel. And I want a message engraved on that container in the Rexian language. What message? Minho asked. Hana looked out across the shipyard at her soldiers, dirty and exhausted but victorious. Tell the Emperor you sent your best. Send better or send nothing. 3 hours later, medical teams had recovered and preserved all 12 assassin bodies. Engineers worked through the night to create a container exactly to Hana's specifications. The steel was forged in New Busan's foundries, marked with Earth's symbol and humanity's declaration of defiance. When it was finished, the container was loaded onto an automated drone ship, programmed with a single destination, the Vrexian Imperial Palace. The ship would broadcast its contents and purpose on all frequencies as it traveled through space. The entire galaxy would know what humanity had done. As the drone ship launched, Hana watched from the command center's observation deck. Colonel Jiwon stood beside her. Do you think this will stop him? Jiwon asked. The Emperor? No, Hana said honestly. But it will make him think. It will make every species in the galaxy think. Humanity just defeated the Crimson Hand. We're not prey. We're not vassals. We're not going to roll over and die because some emperor demands it. She turned away from the window. Now we prepare for whatever comes next. Because this isn't over. This is just beginning. The automated drone ship traveled through Vrexian space for 7 days. Every species with communication technology tracked its journey. News networks provided constant updates. Betting markets went wild with speculation about what would happen when it reached the Imperial Palace. Some thought the Emperor would destroy the ship before it arrived. Others believed he would ignore it entirely. A few dared to suggest that humanity's bold action might actually change something. The ship was not destroyed. It was not ignored. On the 7th day, the drone ship entered orbit around the Vrexian homeworld and transmitted a request for landing clearance at the Imperial Palace. Palace security, confused by the unprecedented situation, elevated the matter to higher authorities. Within an hour, the decision reached Emperor Thulrock himself. Let it land, he commanded. I want to see what these primitives have sent me. The ship landed in the palace's grand courtyard, an area usually reserved for visiting dignitaries and important ceremonies. Thousands of Vrexian officials, military officers, and nobles gathered to witness the opening of the container. The entire event was broadcast across the empire. Emperor Thulrock descended from his throne and approached the steel container. It was 3 meters long, 1 meter wide, and engraved with symbols that made the Vrexian language experts in attendance whisper nervously. The message was simple and brutal. You sent your best. Send better, or send nothing. The Emperor's massive hands gripped the container's seal. He tore it open with raw strength, and the contents were revealed to his entire court. 12 heads perfectly preserved in stasis fields. The complete Crimson Hand. Every assassin sent to kill General Hana Kim, now arranged in neat rows like trophies. The court fell absolutely silent. No one spoke. No one moved. The Emperor stared at the heads of his personal assassins, the killers who had never failed a mission in 300 years. How? Someone whispered. Emperor Thulrock's 4 eyes burned with an emotion that few had ever seen in him. Genuine uncertainty mixed with rage and something that might have been fear. His hands trembled slightly as he looked at Korvash's preserved face. An old Vrexian general named Kresh stepped forward. He was ancient by their standards, with armor bearing the marks of 100 battles. He had served the Empire for longer than most species had existed. Your Majesty, Kresh said carefully. If I may speak? Speak, the Emperor commanded, his voice tight with barely controlled fury. The humans did not simply kill the Crimson Hand, Kresh said. They hunted them. They outfought them. They sent this message to demonstrate that they are not afraid of us. They are declaring themselves warriors, not prey. They are insects, another advisor protested. We should crush them immediately. Mobilize the entire fleet and turn their colonies into ash. And what would that accomplish? Kresh asked. We would destroy one relatively small human settlement. Meanwhile, every other species in the galaxy would see that it took our entire military might to defeat them. We would look weak, not strong. He is right, another military commander added reluctantly. The humans have already won a propaganda victory. Species that feared us now question whether we are truly invincible. If we overreact, we confirm their doubts. Emperor Thulrock remained silent, staring at the container. His mind worked through the political and military calculations. The Crimson Hand was supposed to be an easy solution. Send assassins, eliminate the troublesome general, make an example that would terrify humanity into submission. Instead, the humans had turned his weapon against him. This General Hana Kim, the Emperor said slowly. Tell me about her. His intelligence officers pulled up her file on a holographic display. They detailed her military career, her victories, her tactical innovations. They showed footage of the battles against the assassins, demonstrating how she had adapted human technology to defeat Vrexian advantages. She is formidable, Kresh observed. In any other species, we would call her a worthy opponent. She is human, the Emperor said. A primitive, is she? Kresh asked carefully. Your Majesty, humans have been in space for less than 2 centuries, yet they have developed faster than any species in recorded history. Their technology improves at an exponential rate. Their military adapts with incredible speed. They are young, yes, but perhaps that is their advantage. They have no preconceptions about what is possible or impossible. The Emperor turned away from the container, his mind made up. I will not wage a war of annihilation against humanity. Not yet. Relief swept through some of the gathered officials. Others looked disappointed. However, the Emperor continued, I will not ignore this insult either. Send a transmission to the human government. Inform them that I recognize General Hana Kim as a worthy opponent under Vrexian warrior tradition. She has earned the right to be treated as a legitimate military threat. Your Majesty, that is an honor we have only granted to 3 species in our entire history, an advisor protested. And those 3 species are now our most reliable allies, the Emperor replied, because we respected their strength rather than trying to crush it. The humans have demonstrated that they will not submit through fear. We can either spend decades in a costly war trying to break them, or we can acknowledge their strength and see if they can be useful as something other than subjects. He walked back to his throne and sat down heavily. I am not making peace with humanity. I am not forgiving this insult, but I am recognizing that they are more dangerous than we believed. We will withdraw our territorial demands for now. We will watch them carefully. And if they prove to be a genuine threat rather than just a temporary annoyance, then we will respond accordingly. And the general? Kresh asked. She lives, the Emperor said. For now. She has won this round. Let her enjoy her victory while it lasts. The transmission reached Earth and its colonies within hours. The Terran Council met in emergency session to discuss the implications. Some saw it as a victory. Others worried it was just a temporary reprieve. At New Busan, General Hana received the news in her office. Commander Minho and Colonel Ji-won were with her. reviewing the Emperor's official statement. He called you a worthy opponent, Minho said, reading from the document. That's significant. The Vrexians don't grant that title lightly. Does this mean we're safe? Jiwon asked. No, Hana said firmly. It means we bought ourselves time. The Emperor backed down because destroying us would cost more than he's willing to pay right now, but that calculation could change at any moment. She pulled up a star map showing human territory and the surrounding alien empires. This bought us time to prepare. Time to build alliances. Time to improve our defenses. We need to use it wisely. A priority message appeared on her screen. It was from Delegate Sujin Kwan, humanity's ambassador to the Galactic Council. General Kim, Sujin's message began. Your actions have changed everything. I'm receiving invitations to security councils that were previously closed to humans. Species that wouldn't acknowledge our existence are now requesting meetings. Everyone wants to know if humanity would consider defensive alliances. Hana read the message carefully. We're not prey anymore. We're players. Over the following weeks, the effects of General Hana's victory rippled across the galaxy. 3 alien empires that had been planning aggressive moves against human territory quietly abandoned their plans. The betting markets that had given humanity 3,000 to 1 odds of survival were now rating them as a legitimate mid-tier military. Power. Recruitment for the Terran military increased by 300%. Young humans across the colonies volunteered to serve, inspired by the story of how General Hana had defeated the galaxy's most feared assassins. The military academies couldn't process applications fast enough. 6 months after the confrontation, something unexpected arrived at New Busan. A ship bearing Vrexian military markings but flying under a diplomatic flag. It requested permission to land. Hana met the ship personally, flanked by heavy security. The airlock opened and out stepped General Kresh, the ancient Vrexian warrior who had spoken before the Emperor's court. General Kim, Kresh said, his voice rough but respectful. I come bearing something unusual. He held out a small metal disc engraved with Vrexian symbols. This is a warrior's mark. It is given only to those who have proven themselves in combat against Vrexian forces. The Emperor authorized me to present it to you. Hana took the disc, studying it carefully. Is this supposed to make me forgive him for trying to kill me? No, Kresh said. It is an acknowledgement. You defeated the Crimson Hand. You sent a message that resonated across the galaxy. The Emperor is many things, but he is not blind to strength when it is demonstrated so clearly. What happens now? Hana asked. That depends on you, Kresh replied. The Emperor has withdrawn his territorial demands. He will not attack humanity without significant provocation, but neither is he your friend. You exist in a state of armed respect, which in galactic politics is often the best relationship possible. He turned to leave, then paused. One more thing, General. What you did was remarkable. Most species submit when faced with Vrexian power. A few fight and are destroyed. But you did something different. You turned our weapon against us and made us respect you for it. That is rare. Treasure it, but do not grow overconfident. The galaxy is vast and full of dangers greater than the Vrexian Empire. I know, Hana said. We're ready. After Kresh departed, Hana returned to her command center where her staff was waiting. They looked at her expectantly, wondering what the Vrexian general had said. We won, Hana said simply. Not the war, but this battle. The Emperor knows we're not easy prey. Other species know we can defend ourselves. We've earned a place at the table. What are your orders, General? Soman asked. Hana looked at the star map again, showing human colonies spreading slowly across space. We prepare. We train, we build. Because this peace is temporary. Something else will challenge us eventually. Another empire, another crisis, another threat. And when it comes, we'll be ready to face it the same way we faced the Crimson Hand. Standing up, Minho said. Exactly, Hana confirmed. She addressed her entire staff. The Emperor sent killers to make us afraid, to make us submit, to prove that humanity was weak and vulnerable. We showed him the truth. We're not afraid. We don't submit. And we're far from weak. We sent their heads back, Jiwon said with a slight smile. Yes, Hana agreed. And in doing so, we sent a message to the entire galaxy. Humanity is young. We're still learning. We make mistakes and we face challenges that older species have long since overcome. But we have something that can't be taught or given or conquered. We have the absolute refusal to give up. even when every logical calculation says we should. She walked to the window overlooking New Busan's capital city. Millions of humans lived there, going about their daily lives, most of them unaware of how close they had come to annihilation. They're safe now, Hana said, for the moment. And we're going to keep them safe no matter what it takes, because that's what we do. That's what humans have always done. We protect our own. We fight when we must, and we never ever stop moving forward. Commander Minho pulled up a report on his datapad. General, we're receiving applications from 15 different species wanting to establish military cooperation agreements with humanity. They're calling us the species that defeated the Crimson Hand. Schedule meetings with all of them, Hana said. But be cautious. Some will want genuine alliances. Others will just want to study us for weaknesses. We need to learn which is which. Understood, Minho said. As her staff dispersed to their various duties, Hana remained at the window, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Emperor Thulrock was planning his next move. Other empires were watching and calculating. The galaxy was as dangerous as ever. But humanity had proven something important. They had proven they could fight. They could win. They could face the darkness and come out the other side still standing. The Emperor had sent his killers. General Hana Kim had sent their heads back, and the galaxy would remember that message for a very long time.